Back to coverage here at GP Hartford. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth with Melissa DeTora, and we are all set here for round 8 action. This is the last round of Swiss here on day 1. We're playing modern. We've got Craig Wescoe on blue-white Death and Taxes. In other words, white weenie. He is playing up against Sjaak de Vlaming, who is on Jeskai. And Jeskai is a deck that kind of goes up and down in modern a little bit, but it is one of the flavors of control that people like to try out. How do you like the matchup here, Melissa?
Jeskai is a deck that just never goes away. It has been strong like pretty much his entire time in modern. It's always just a very solid deck. But Craig's deck is like just meant to prey on control decks. It's like I would call it either aggro control or disruptive aggro, where he just plays early creatures and then protects them with spells like Spell Queller, disrupts the opponent with things like Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. He has disruption spells in Ghost Quarter. He has Lean and Arbiter. And then he has one of Control's most hated cards, Geist of St. Traff, so if he can get one of those on turn 3, this control deck's going to have a really hard time.
He's already in an interesting position here with this Leon and Arbiter potentially messing up Sjaak's potential mana. He is a 3-color deck,
right?
And that usually entails about as many fetch lands as you can get in there and duels and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, he has to crack fetches in response. Oh, but there's a logic knot
to
just counter this spell. Just Force Spike.
Wow, very nice logic knot there. Goes and gets a second blue source. Oh, and then he draws a lightning bolt, of course.
And he has Spell Queller in hand, which is just going to stop Craig's first play this turn.
Interestingly, Craig, maybe in the last window where he'd actually be content with it, has drawn an Ether Vial.
Yeah, let's see what he decides to do this turn.
I think he's going to go for 2 spells this turn. Try out another Arbiter and see if that resolves. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Sjaak just saying sure. But no, he actually wants to get something going. He's going to play a Spell Queller, which ostensibly is going to gobble up that Arbiter.
This is going to work for now, but Craig does play 4 Path to Exile in his deck, which I believe he has it in his hand too. So he can just path the Spell Queller pretty much when the time is right and get his guy back.
Well, how cool
maybe
is that?
In response to a fetch or something.
Right, and it's also Path to Exile. This is really cool. Craig Wescoe kind of saying, you know what, you hold on to that. You hang on to that, Sjaak, and I might come back and get that guy a little later. Now, we notice that Sjaak has missed the land drop for the turn after attacking for 2. Pass back to Craig. He's going to put a counter on his Ether Vial and draw his card for the turn. Lots of cards in hand. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, I can't really see his cards. He's playing his... Oh, here we go. We have a Selfless Spirit, a Restoration Angel, which is a really nice play in response to a Bolt or something. And a Path to Exile, of course. And a Spell Queller. So this is going to be an interesting game. It's going to... sequencing is going to matter a ton here due to all the flash creatures in Ether Vial.
Sjaak has drawn a 4th land. It's a basic island, so no shenanigans afoot there. He just plays it right off the top of his library, attacks for 2 with Spell Queller. And what are you going to do now? Pass a turn back? Looks like it.
Just run that Restoration Angel out there, which I think would get Spell Quellered here. Hopefully with white mana. He's reaching for 3 mana. That is not white. All right, sure, just path it. That makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to target anyway, so it would just be a 3/4 with flying. And Sjaak seems content to just get rid of it, and this does, though, take away his ability to cast Spell Queller now.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised by that play because he can't cast Spell Queller, so it's just a worse use of his mana.
Right.
So now he can use a Bolt, but then he's going to just have 2 untapped islands.
So he's really hoping to find a target for that Lightning Bolt to help kind of stem the bleeding on that mana inefficiency that you pointed out.
All right, so this is pretty cool. Craig drew a Ghost Quarter.
Oh.
So he can path the Spell Queller, and then when the Lean and Arbiter comes back, he can Ghost Quarter and deny Sjaak of lands.
He's chosen to do nothing, at least on his turn, and no, just nothing at all.
Yeah, as long as he has mana untapped, he can pay for that Lean and Arbiter.
Sjaak is of one mind. He plays his land and then says combat. Craig says sure. And he is getting attacked, so Craig's going to go ahead and draw a card with Horizon Canopy.
Athalia.
He's going to take 2 more damage, drop down to 12. Keep his options open with that Ether Vial. And is it going to be Athalia? He also could put in a Selfless Spirit if he'd like. Okay. And he's going to go for that. Remember, that can't be countered, at least not by regular counterspell. It's just going to be put in to play off of the Ether Vial. It's one of the big bonuses of the Ether Vials that it gets under counter magic, especially only costing 1 mana. Very difficult to interact with.
Now that Vial is on 3, he can get a free uncounterable Spell Queller.
That is some powerful stuff there from Wescoe, who's on blue-white Death and Taxes. Very much an aggressive deck that presents a bunch of difficult to deal with permanents, namely creatures.
So one problem with Craig's deck is it has very little late game. So if this game goes long, I would think that it would favor Sjaak here.
Does seem to be the case. These decks really will scramble for any amount of late game advantage they can get because they hit this point. I mean, by the way, this happened multiple turns ago, but the lands that Craig draws now are basically useless outside of the Ghost Quarters or the value lands. But that's why you see them running cards like Horizon Canopy.
Yep,
just try
absolutely.
to get some value out of those lands.
Yeah, he has no use for late game mana, like he has no mana sinks.
Right.
So now since we're in the mid to late game here, it just is going to keep looking worse and worse for Craig.
In the meantime, Sjaak has been on this one plan for quite a while. Just keeps getting in with Spell Queller. Craig says, that's fine. I'm down to 10, but I'm not dead yet. By the way, a lot of lands off the top of the library for Sjaak. I don't think he's missed one since that land drop miss after turn 3.
And Sjaak, on the other hand, has lots of things to do in the late game. He has Celestial Colonnade.
Fantastic mana sink. Oop, here we go. Oh, it's just going to be a Lightning Bolt on Thalia. But Sjaak potentially opening up the door here for Craig to have a card like, another Restoration Angel or a Flicker Wisp on the Ether Vial.
He could also sack the Selfless Spirit if he wants.
Sure, if he'd prefer to keep Thalia around. But
casting a Spell Queller instead of vialing it in is pretty interesting.
Yeah, he wants to be able to vial in the Geist of St. Traft.
Yeah, but now his Spell Queller can get Spell Quellered.
It's true.
And the other play, he wouldn't have to worry about any counters.
It's true, but maybe he just values the Geist of St. Traft that much higher.
But on the other hand, Craig is holding a Path to Exile, I believe.
He is.
So he could path the Spell Queller to get back his Spell Queller to still counter the Bolt. The Spell Queller Wars.
Wow, yeah, we have not seen this in a while, have we, Melissa? It's been a while since the Spell Quellers were fighting each other.
Right. So I think he's going to do that here, if he is holding Path, which I think he is.
Yeah. He is holding a Path to Exile behind that Geist of St. Traft in hand.
Yeah, he is, yep. So I think he's going to do that. This play makes a lot of sense because it allows him to just have 6 power of stuff on the board, actually more because he's going to vial in the Geist of St. Traft.
Mm-hmm. And also, after all of this damage is still hitting, right? Like, it was a Lightning Bolt. There's no block, so it's still going to be 4 damage.
So after Craig vials in this Geist of St. Traft, he's going to be swinging for 12 damage. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the way I see it, Craig's attacking for 4, knocking Sjaak down to 9.
I think the life total has already changed, though.
Oh, they already changed? Okay.
Yep.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yep. And again, that's the problem with Craig's deck. He just has no late game. He has really no counterplay to this Cryptic Command. So, yes, Craig theoretically is attacking for 12, but I would imagine that Sjaak is just going to tap his team here.
Yeah, that actually works out nicely. Sjaak is going to need to come up with 2 more damage from somewhere because he can attack for 2 here, knock Craig down to 8, then use Cryptic Command, and then the next turn he could have 6 damage between that and the Celestial Colonnade, but he'll need to find 2 more somewhere.
Attack Spell Queller into Spell Queller.
It's a little weird, given that the Spell Queller can block either of the 2 ones.
He's also
Craig's just going to call here, right?
Yep, he's also telling Craig, hey, I have something to deal with your stuff. Right.
Definitely. But I guess he's just representing a lightning bolt here.
Oh, he's holding a path, so he can path the Spell Queller and lightning bolt something else.
But that makes sense, but why post-combat? Or why after blocks?
That I'm not totally sure about.
That's the thing I was trying to figure out. I can't quite get my head around at the moment, though.
Maybe he just thought that Craig would not block. But, yeah, I'm not totally sure why you would do that after blocks and not before.
And he is going to have to pay a mana for that as well.
Yep, he will have to pay a mana for it. And maybe Craig sacks the Selfless Spirit here.
I suppose you'd rather have a Thalia than a Selfless Spirit.
Yeah, I think you'd rather have a Thalia. Oh, no, I guess not.
Maybe not. It also does leave him open to drawing a Thalia and being able to play it. It's not a dead draw anymore in his library.
So the Thalia gone frees up Cryptic Command.
Yeah, that part's pretty awkward. Aether Vial is going to put Geist of St. Trapped in that Cryptic Command cannot interact with here. Let's see what the top deck is for Wescoe. This is a good close one here. You got to feel like Craig could be at a lower life total, though. And here we go. Cryptic Command, tap your team, and ostensibly draw a card.
Sjaak could have considered doing that on the upkeep because he knows that Craig plays Spell Queller, and he's just giving him another chance to draw one. That would have been a huge blowout.
It would have been a disaster had it happened. I think he got away with one there. But that's a great point, Melissa.
And wow, Craig has 7 lands in play.
Yeah,
that
not
is
what he wants.
not where he wants to be at all. Oh, okay.
He drew a Path to Exile, and that does get him back some business.
That also means that since Sjaak is tapped out, Craig can Ghost Quarter the Celestial Colonnade, denying Sjaak of a land with the Arbiter in play.
That's right.
I imagine he will do that here.
Oof, this is good stuff. Craig Wescoe has made a surge forward here. And all of a sudden, he's the one with the big board and facing down Sjaak and saying, hey. Oh, he doesn't do it.
He didn't do it.
Huh?
He has no cards in hand.
Yeah, I guess he just figures, hey, if you want to tap out all your mana to light up that Celestial Colonnade, I'll let you do it.
Yeah, okay. So I think a Mana Leak and a Spell Queller are in hand.
That's correct. He just drew the Mana Leak.
Yeah, Mana Leak is not so good here. Pretty rough position for Sjaak here.
Well, that's one
he
of
can't really activate the Colonnade.
No, he really can't. Not in the face of the Ghost Quarter. And that was a Horizon Canopy off the top. It's going to get sacrificed for a card. Unfortunately, I think it was just another Aether Vial.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it was. It looked like something white, but Aether Vial is...
Looks like that,
it kind of looks white.
Yeah.
Back before, during Mirrodin Block, the artifacts had that color scheme.
This
and
is
then
interesting.
It kind of changed after that.
Here's a Spell Queller now from Sjaak. He wants to take care of the Geist of St. Traft if he can.
But there is the Selfless Spirit.
That's right. This also would put him down to 5, even without it. So he actually is going to sacrifice it. So he's going to take 6 damage, down to 7.
Yep,
Yeah.
just a vial,
Just
unfortunately.
Another vial. Again, another not late game card that Craig really doesn't want to see at this point. Effectively a blank.
Craig could draw Honor of the Pure here. That would be sweet. He's playing 1 copy.
Craig is just 1 damage short from being able to just attack. Yeah, well, there's always hope, I guess.
That looked like a ghost quarter.
Yeah, it's another land for sure. Wow, Craig has really flooded out, but kept just enough of a board presence. He's caught Sjaak down to a virtual 1.
Right. But the more turns he passes, like the more Sjaak has a chance to get back in this game, and he has really good top decks here.
Yeah, you mentioned it, that Sjaak's late game is much stronger than Craig Wescoe's, and we've seen that play out with cards like Cryptic Command and Celestial Colonnade.
Was that another land?
Yeah.
Well, at least Mana Leak is a dead card.
That's right. Craig has successfully played around Mana Leak by drawing most of his lands. A second Spell Queller is going to hit the battlefield
for the
Sjaak.
block, yep.
So he's just going to leave that back, or is he going to chip in with it? It's risky business, but last time he knew, look, Craig didn't attack me. He doesn't have anything.
Yeah, it's super risky. I don't think I would attack here, because like if Craig just draws anything, you die.
I'd jam. I'm in.
But you're only getting in for 2.
You mean 20% of his remaining life total?
All right, that's fair.
I don't think you're going to beat a Path to Exile at this point anyway.
Ooh, a Lighthouse.
Ooh, Desolate Lighthouse could be very good here.
A Lighthouse is something that you really have to Ghost Quarter before
By the way,
it gets
the
out
conservative line there of Melissa and also of Sjaak pays off here as Craig Wescoe vials in what would have been a lethal threat, which is effectively anything.
Right.
Any removal spell, any creature. And by the way, Craig does have a Path to Exile in his hand now, I believe.
Yeah, he drew a path, so he can probably win here.
He's probably in good shape, yeah.
Oh, but the lightning
bolt. Is he waiting?
No, he used Lighthouse.
When?
Good question.
Yeah, because I would assume that Craig would just say, I want to kill your thing and then go to combat.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we are in the turn here. Ooh. Do you tap out to search?
Sure.
Yeah, I guess he has nothing else going on.
No.
He's not mana leaking anything.
So may as well. And by the way, interesting to note here, Melissa, that Craig decided to go for the Desolate Lighthouse at this point.
Well, he has 2 Ghost Quarters, so that's fine. And like the more Lighthouse activations that we see, like the better chance of Craig not winning. So you have to kill that thing there.
He felt an urgency with that one that he does not feel with the Colonnade. As the Colonnade is very expensive to activate, 5 extra mana, and that means that Sjaak is going to have to put in, most of his mana to get a Colonnade in the air, and then Craig can simply pounce with the Ghost Quarter.
So Sjaak has had 2 really good draws in a row, Lightning Bolt and Lightning Helix.
Oh boy, that's a race-changing card as well. Makes it harder to do the math from Wescoe's perspective.
Yep, absolutely.
Another land off the top, though. Wescoe's being patient.
I would say this game is favoring Sjaak here.
I mean, Wescoe has lethal and just isn't going for it.
For good reason.
What's the reason?
Because he doesn't actually have lethal due to Lightning Helix and Lightning Bolt.
Well, he doesn't know about that.
Yeah, but he dies to anything. Like if he goes for it and Sjaak has something, he just has no chance of winning this game.
Yeah, I mean there was an opening where he actually did. But
yep, he had 1 turn and he didn't go for it.
That would have been the turn to go for it too. It was the earliest turn. After that, Sjaak has found removal spells, and now I agree. It definitely seems a lot worse. Although now he has double Path to Exile.
Yeah, maybe now you go for it. Yeah, double path is now super safe.
In comes the team.
And now path before blocks? No, I guess not.
Craig let him block.
I'm pretty surprised by that. So that dies.
This means that Sjaak is taking 4 in the air.
Yeah, he could also path
the blocks.
The blocked.
Yeah.
the Queller that blocked the Geist, so that way next turn you're getting in a free attack for 4 flying.
Yeah. But also if you path both of them pre-combat, you're getting that and 2 damage.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. Craig must be playing around some counters or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely playing around stuff.
Who do you think's ahead at this point? Because Craig, it felt like he was with the double path.
I think it's Craig now.
Okay.
Because Sjaak is taking 4 going to 3. He's keeping a Spell Queller. And then he's going to have to block the 4/4 Angel with a Spell Queller to not die. And he still has this Geist of St. Traff to deal with. Lightning Helix does change the math, though.
It does. It does. And it makes it really interesting because he can now afford to block Spell Queller on Geist and not die.
Helix the face.
Really?
Helix the face.
Whoa. That's aggressive.
I agree.
Now the cat's out of the bag, though, because he might have actually gotten Craig to
he drew a Snapcaster. Is that a Snapcaster?
I can't see it, but...
no, actually it's a Remand. It's not a Snapcaster.
Okay. It's just interesting, because Craig may have been tempted. He's played this game very carefully, but he may have been tempted to just attack with the Geist with Sjaak on 3 life and just say, what are you going to do? As it turns out, Sjaak did have an answer in his hand, but now Craig's not going to want to make that attack anymore.
But he still has the path, right? Because he was holding 2 paths.
He does. He also drew a Mirroring Crusader for the turn, which isn't fantastic against Sjaak, but it's still just a good threat.
Now he can path and go for the win.
Yeah. The Grim Lavamancer can block the Geist of St. Traff on the ground and maintain Sjaak's life total.
Yep.
At 2, but it's a chump block, and he still would have to face the Geist of St. Traff. Just like this is how Craig Wescoe drew it up.
Yeah, he could also cast Remand here. Oh no, Colonnade, that thing is just dead.
Yeah, but there's no what's wrong with firing it up?
Well, you can Remand and try and draw into Cryptic.
Oh, I like that. At any rate, Remanding first makes sense because you can just do it after, right?
Yeah,
like see what you get.
I think I would Remand here. I would rather not just have to throw my Lavamancer away. I would want to search for Cryptic.
Oop. Looks like he may have already done it.
Might have some other outs as well. Let's see what other outs he has. Yeah, he could draw into another Spell Queller. He can draw into a Logic Knot. So he has cards he can draw into here. So I think remanding makes sense instead of just throwing Lavamancer away.
Yeah, I think he came to that same conclusion.
So he decides to remand.
Right, so he's going to go for the remand here. Now, the remand's not going to get the job done on its own. It's only 1 white mana. Craig has plenty in excess, and it was a land
only
draw.
did that to cycle.
Yep.
Which he found a land, so unfortunately he is going to have to throw away that Lavamancer.
Looks like he's out of basics as well. He didn't even grab his library there.
Yep, you're right.
So now we're going to see, he'll probably fire up the Colonnade, though it really doesn't do anything if you don't have any basics left.
Right.
I guess it does take out a Ghost Quarter.
So still not finding a basic.
He's scrapping for that mana leak value.
Scrapping, just like Scrap Heap Scrounger.
Indeed. All right, and he's going to go upstairs here with the Grim Lavamancer activation, knocking Wescoe down to 5 life, but also throwing away his last creature. This is so close for Sjaak. He needs to find a burn spell here.
Was that another remand?
Yeah. Also known as not good enough.
Yeah.
Craig Wescoe has lethal on the table from 2 different creatures. And he can make it 3 creatures.
Oh, wow.
A 4/4 Flying Angel, a Mirror Crusader, and the Geist itself is actually lethal here. I don't see any way out for Sjaak at this point.
His only out is for Craig to cast a spell and then Sjaak to remand into Cryptic.
Yeah.
And then Cryptic draws like a Snapcaster or something.
Yeah, and Craig Wescoe's having none of it. He's not putting
he's not playing the spell.
anything on the stack. He's just going to attack in with everything. And Craig very patiently worked his way through that game and found a victory at the end.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy because I really expected Sjaak to just have the advantage in this matchup, especially given the amount of lands that Craig drew. But he played the game really well.
It was a weird game.
Definitely. So for sideboard, some options Craig has are Barenton Forge Tender if he wants to counter burn spells, but I don't really think that's good enough. Wow, he doesn't actually have a lot of sideboard options for this matchup. He must think the matchup's really good. And like on paper, it looks really good. Like he's playing an aggro control deck, which historically beats control decks. Mm-hmm. So he must think the matchup is great because all of his sideboard cards are just hate cards for specific combo decks. So I wouldn't be surprised if he sided in close to nothing. Maybe if he has some bad cards, he can side in some Barenton Forge Tenders. On the other side, let's see what we have for Sjaak. Pyroclasm. Is it Static Adder is pretty good against Thalia. Engineered Explosives. Blessed Alliance is good against Geist of St. Traft. Anger of the Gods, so like he has a lot of options.
And this already seems like a reasonable matchup for him because he is playing a little bit different of a take on this Jeskai. He's more tempo-based with the Spell Quellers. He's not the pure control deck who's just all spot removal and card-drawn cryptic commands.
Right, he actually has a lot of creatures.
Yeah.
Snapcaster, Vendilion Click, Grim Lavamancer.
I wonder if that Staticaster's worth it. Like you said, it's good against Thalia. Also, Flicker Wisp is a card that Sjaak is probably thinking he
probably
might see on the other side.
Yeah, he might not know what Craig is running, but it looks like he did see Thalia and Selfless Spirit. So,
and Selfless Spirit,
So
yeah.
it is great against those cards.
What more do you need?
He also has some pretty bad cards, like when your opponent is playing Aether Vials, counterspells are pretty terrible. So I would expect Mana Leak to come out.
Oh, yeah.
Remand is
Remand
not
is
really
mediocre.
great.
Yeah, it's terrible against Vial, and it's not even that great anyway because Craig's Wescoe's deck, what does it curve to? 3?
4. He has
with the
Restoration
Angel. So that's the best you could possibly get.
I want to see the Honor of the Pure just get him. He's playing 1 copy.
Really?
1 copy of Honor of the Pure.
Just the one of.
Just 1. It's Craig Wescoe. He has to play a Craig Wescoe card.
Totally.
Craig's deck is really cool, though. We don't see this deck in Modern very often. I think actually only Craig Wescoe plays it.
He's just waiting for that metagame to come back around.
No, I think he'll just play it in any format, like in any metagame.
That's what I meant. He stays the same.
Oh, he stays the same. So
the metagame moves around, and
so
eventually it lines up.
Yeah, he has to hope that the metagame is correct for his deck, because he'll play it regardless.
Because he's playing it anyway.
Mulligan from Sjaak.
It's like a merry-go-round,
Yeah, but when the metagame is right, he top 8s the Pro Tour. Sometimes even wins.
Or wins it.
So I see a Lightning Bolt, a Spell Queller, and a bunch of lands, which is a pretty good 6-card hand.
And he's kept it, plays his land, passes the turn back to Wescoe, who has a 1-mana play, though it's Serum Visions. Kind of a cool addition to an aggro deck. 2 lands with Serum Visions. This will give us a good idea of what Craig's looking for, and it's not lands. He's seen enough.
Yeah, the game goes long enough where he will draw lands, and he has 3 lands in hand. That's all he needs. Definitely does not. Oh, and now more.
There it is, Leonin Arbiter.
So that was the test to see if Sjaak kept in counterspells. And since there was no counterspell here, I would just think that the way is clear for other stuff.
Yeah, the difference, of
There is
course,
Spell Queller,
now
though.
is Spell Queller, right? Now he's got 3 mana available. So now Wescoe says, well, I snuck this thing through, but it's not over yet.
Yeah, he has some options here. He can lead with Ether Vial. Looks like the hand is Restoration Angel, Vial, Path.
Ghost Quarter's interesting as well. If Sjaak does tap his lands, he could get them.
Yeah, Ghost Quarter is actually interesting.
There's Ether Vial.
So if he Spell Quellers this, I would expect Craig to Ghost Quarter the blue-white land.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Hollowed Fountain, I think. Or maybe it's a Celestial
I think it's a Colonnade.
Yeah, I think you're right. The best target.
Yes.
There it is.
Yeah, so this is pretty great for Craig. He can Path the Queller and deny him a land and Ghost Quarter his other land.
Wow. That is nasty.
It is. And he gets the Vial anyway.
Turning the Path to Exile into the best removal spell ever printed and turning Ghost Quarter into Strip Mine.
Yeah, this is exactly how Craig wants this matchup to be played out.
Starting to think of a card of the match here, Melissa.
Oh, yeah, you might be right. I might have to think of a card of,
I mean,
of the
you have
match
to
real
pick
quick.
it, but I'm just putting Leonin Arbiter on my ballot. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it's on my ballot.
It's the thing that just enabled those shenanigans.
Yeah. It didn't do that game 1, though.
No, it only attacked for a few points of damage.
But wow, what a beating this card was.
Vendilion Click on end step here for Sjaak. And you see that Sjaak generally plays at instant speed. Wow, that's a stacked hand. Geist of St. Traft and Restoration Angel. Sjaak is going to take away the Geist.
He did side in Brent and Forge Tender. It looks pretty embarrassing right now.
Yeah, no red mana inside even for
But,
Sjaak.
You know, there is a Staticaster and a Bolt in Sjaak's hand.
If he can find that mana. In the meantime, he's going to start picking a fight here in racing.
And there's the 1-drop.
There we go. Now Sjaak knows what he got.
Take that, Vendilion Click. Drew the perfect card off of the Vendilion Click.
The 1 ball. Ooh, speaking of the perfect card, Spell Queller off the top of the library for Wescoe.
Nice.
That's a good one when you're already ahead. And there's a Spell Queller that's going to get flashed in just to block.
Yeah, Spell Queller the Spell Queller. Got to do it.
Looks like Craig's also deciding maybe I'll just let him block and then use my Restoration Angel, but I think the Spell Queller makes a little more sense here. Oh, he's going to go for the Angel.
It makes sense to me too, but he decided to not do that.
This does get him an additional power and let him maintain Spell Queller for any potentially devastating plays down the line. Ooh, there's a red mana source off the top.
That's what he needed.
And this opens up a lot for him. It opens up every card in his hand. And is it Staticaster, a Lightning Bolt, or a Cryptic Command? But once again, Leonin Arbiter is keeping Sjaak at bay and delaying that for a turn.
Right.
What do we got? Field of Ruin now for Craig?
That was a nice draw, too. Well, he has to get a Steam Vents, I think. So, yeah, Field of Ruin's nice here.
Also want to mention, by the way, after the live Magic this round, don't go anywhere because we've got more matches lined up for you that you haven't seen yet. They're going to be at super speed with Rich Hagen on extra turns. And that's going to happen all the way until the final standings are in for the tournament. So you might want to grab a glass of water when the live Magic's done here because Rich is going turbo mode on us for extra turns at the end of the day here on day 1.
So Sjaak fetched a basic mountain, probably because of the Field of Ruin in play over there.
Is that a Pyroclasm?
It is. But there's also a Brent Forge Tender.
That's right. Counters a Pyroclasm.
when I used to play black-white tokens in Modern. I think the deck is pretty bad these days, but there was a time where it was good. I top 16'd a few GPs with it. Barenton Forge Tender was my best sideboard card. Stopped all the Pyroclasms. And blocked all the Bloodbraid Elves.
Just soaked up the damage for the team.
Yeah, like the Jund player was like, well, okay. Guess I can't attack.
And here's the Is It Staticaster.
Yeah, this I think Craig needs to Spell Queller, because it's just like it's gonna hit Thalia, and then Craig will have to decide if he wants to sack Barenton Forge Tender. I think I like Spell Quellering this here.
Basically, it's just Thalia that he has to worry about. It can't target the Forge Tender itself, and it can't kill the other two creatures. But also, Craig has a big incentive to just get this Spell Queller out and start beating down. At some point here, he's going to need to try to get through the opposing Spell Queller and or Vendilion Click. Ooh, Lightning Bolt.
Yep, Lightning Bolt's good, but there is the Forge Tender, which I think Craig just has to sack here.
Well, this does line up the Pyroclasm for next turn to get a clean 2-for-1 here. This is getting really interesting.
Not really a 2-for-1.
Oh, it's not?
Because the Vendilion Click will also die.
True, 2-for-2. Good point.
Still a play that I think he has to make, but not ideal.
Definitely. Maybe he could trade it off here. Would you chump there?
I would have considered double blocking.
Just double block it. Ooh, this is really good now for Sjaak.
Yes, this is great for Sjaak here. Yeah, absolutely.
Run it out there, big fella.
Yeah, run out that Pyroclasm. Then you can cast Opt. Try and find a land for the Cryptic.
Ooh, this one's starting to heat up here. Wescoe's out of gas.
Or cast... Ooh, what if he blocks and has Pyroclasm? Oh, he didn't do it. He didn't fall for it.
Well, he only has a Spell Queller to block with anyway.
No, he could have blocked... Oh, no, you're right.
He attacked last turn.
You're right.
So here's a Pyroclasm. This is going to wipe away 3 of Craig Wescoe's creatures and 1 of Sjaak's, netting him +1 cards. And as you mentioned, Opt to try to find a land. No, he found a path to exile, and he's going to keep it. He figures that's a good answer for Restoration Angel. I'll just hang on to that.
I think a Serum Visions was drawn.
Well, that's pretty ideal for Craig. That's the closest thing he has to card draw. In this case, it's card selection, but it will prevent him from
there's the Honor of the Peer.
Out. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a few turns too late, isn't it?
Yeah. He might keep it.
He really needed it against that Pyroclasm, but now it's not so good. Both on bottom? Nah, both on top.
He picked up the deck. He's like, oh, both on bottom. Nah, let's keep both.
That's crazy. And again, Restoration Angel continues to damage.
I didn't see what he drew off of the Serum Visions, though.
I did not either.
I think a Blessed Alliance was drawn.
Yeah, I think you're right. Lots of removal now for Sjaak.
Yeah, that's a great card against Geist of St. Trap. Trigger on the stack, you can make the opponent sack a creature. You still take 4, but you get the Geist off the board.
There's the Honor of the Peer. And it was a land that he drew from the Serum Visions last turn.
Sure.
It's just another Dark Heart Wastes.
So he did keep the Honor of the Peer.
And Craig just can't wait to get up to 7 mana again like he did in the first game.
So probably sack a creature and gain life. Or, yeah, probably. No reason to untap the Spell Queller there. But that life seems super important here.
It really does. This is a close situation. And Sjaak gaining 4 life and killing a Restoration Angel is a big game. Here's an Opt for him. He likes a Snapcaster
Yep,
Mage.
Snapcaster's sweet.
There's a Lightning Bolt. That could allow him to kill that Spell Queller. Would get him back the Staticaster, though. Currently, Staticaster doesn't look nearly as good thanks to Honor of the Pure and the fact that Craig has no board.
Yep, that's very true.
But still, it's better than taking 3 in the air from the Queller. Oh, and I misspoke. He needs to use something else, doesn't he? Because the Spell Queller also has 4 toughness.
Yes.
So what is he going to do? Oh, he has a Path to Exile in his hand. Make it easy.
And also make Craig shuffle away the card he kept on top.
I bet you Craig just won't even search.
It depends on how good that card is.
I mean, it was good enough to keep on top. It has to be a good card.
Yeah,
right?
but times have changed.
Fair.
Let's see if he wants it.
Fair.
Nope,
Yeah.
he wants the card.
He does. It's a Selfless Spirit.
Okay.
You must figure that that's better than the average draw step, so there it is.
Yeah, it's a 3-2.
Yeah. Wow, this hand, though, for Sjaak is looking pretty strong.
Yeah, he just has everything.
Yeah, he's going to go for Electrolyze after pinging here. And that's going to kill
Nice.
the Selfless Spirit, and he's smart.
Yeah, definitely a smart play to ping first, because if he just targeted the Selfless Spirit for 2, Craig could just sack it and deny Sjaak a card.
Yeah, well, it was also smart because he targeted Craig for 1 and the Selfless Spirit for 1.
Yep, get in the damage when you can.
Well, yeah, but it's still, he wouldn't get to draw the card if he did 2 to the Selfless Spirit. Craig could just simply sacrifice it. But as long as it still has a legal target, wow, these lands for Wescoe. By the way, these guys they're taking their time. Look at that clock.
Yeah.
This is not I mean, it's been pretty grindy, but this is not
yeah,
one of those.
It has, but wow, yeah, this
crazy-
match is taking a long time.
It's really
We're probably
taking-
going to go to time here.
Like, it's not unlikely that they go to time. That is Sjaak winning game number 2, but boy, we have 2 fairly deliberate players playing a matchup that's, I mean, it's pointing removal at the other player's stuff and it's attacking with creatures, but they're down to under 8 minutes in the feature match area here after 2 games. And this could get a little awkward because they still need to sideboard and shuffle up for the last game.
Yeah, one downside of Craig's deck, like I was saying earlier, is he has no late game, and he's playing a deck with 23 lands and 4 Ether Vials. So if he gets flooded, he really just has no game. And we saw that happen in both games 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Game 1 he actually won, but game 2 he just could not overcome the land flood. So I wonder what happens if Craig just draws a small amount of lands, right? It'll probably be a much different game. Looks like he has 4 lands, though. And a vial. Or is it 3 lands and a vial? Looks like... Yeah, looks like 4 lands and a vial. One of them is Horizon Canopy, though. He's got to be thinking, man, are all 3 games going to be me drawing too many lands? So it looks like Sjaak mulliganed. Yep. But Craig does have the turn 2 Arbiter, followed by a Ghost Quarter on the next turn, if Sjaak has nothing.
This looks pretty good for Wescoe in the early stages, at least.
Yeah, but he does have a lot of lands in his hand right now. So these next few draw steps actually matter a lot. Okay. Path on the upkeep was really smart. Deny him the Ghost Quarter. Get the basic island.
Attention, Magic players, that is the end of time in round 8. That is the last round of day 1. Active player finished.
Craig drew another land, but it was a Horizon Canopy.
If you have any time extension and there is not currently a judge
Looks like Adakar Waste and Seachrome Coast on the top.
Call for a judge. Once again, that is the end.
Both
He
will
has
go to the
seen
bottom.
so many lands
He
this
really
match,
has.
hasn't he? Like, this is one of those decks that uses Ether Vial and a relatively cheap suite of creatures to not have to play that many, but Wescoe's he's had at least 7 lands both games, and he's already at 4. Players are playing quickly now. They know that the clock's on them.
Yeah. Oh, perfect draw off of the Horizon Canopy. Now we can vial in a Thalia. Oh, Staticaster. Perfect answer here.
That could be a major problem here for Wescoe, as there is a reasonable percentage of his threats that die to it.
So Craig goes for Serum Visions instead of the Restoration Angel, which I believe he's holding.
He's just trying to find something.
Yeah, and like the top shows him Selfless Spirit, not good against the Staticaster. Probably can't keep that one, but he did keep something. Couldn't see what it was.
Land go. There's a lot of that happening here for Wescoe.
Well, things are looking great for Sjaak here. He just drew a Snapcaster Mage. He can rebuy a removal spell.
Yeah, this is one of the benefits to this Jeskai deck. He has it built a little bit more towards the tempo end with the more creatures in the way to kind of get your opponent dead. But he can transition to a control deck pretty cleanly, where Craig, he's kind of playing the same game plan no matter what.
Right.
Ooh, there's a Spell Queller off of that Serum Visions, though. Boy, we're only at about 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah, I
though.
feel like this is just going to be another grindy game, and we're going to time here.
Yeah, this could be pretty awkward. If they take a draw, they'll be 5-2-1. I don't know if that even makes day 2.
It doesn't.
Oh, that's no bueno.
Yeah, either neither player will make it, or one will just choose to concede to the other, so one moves on.
Here's Spell Queller on Vendilion Click. And Sjaak is going to take this opening to sack a Scalding Tarn while he can.
Yeah, and he doesn't even care about this because his hand is so stacked. He can just kill this thing in so many ways, probably Snapcaster a Path or something.
Okay. Maybe he can get a clock going. If the Vendilion Click is unanswered, it does attack for quite a bit of damage in the air. And then, we've seen how these decks can finish off with a couple of burn spells or a hit from a Colonnade, but it's going to need to go kind of perfectly for Sjaak here. He's going to want to kill Spell Queller and then
he just
see
passed,
what's going on. He passed, and now we're in the upkeep, and he's going to go for Snapcaster, it looks like.
I'm actually very surprised that he waited for the upkeep and not just do it while Craig was tapped out of both mana and the vial.
This is an actual disaster for Sjaak because that gave Craig Wescoe the mana he needed for Restoration Angel, which is the exact card that he has in his hand.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised by this, unless
only
there's something
spell.
we're missing and there's a spell in Sjaak's hand that we're just not seeing. But it looks like he has land Spell Queller,
Well, we're going to find out shortly, aren't we?
But Craig is letting that happen.
Okay.
Why is he letting it happen? What is he playing around? Maybe Mana Leak? No, he's just casting the Restoration Angel, so the Vendilion Click takes no cards.
Yeah, all lands in hand. So Sjaak might think, oh, that's bad news, but it's really great news. Craig Wescoe's on nothing, just the air ball, and he draws another land. What is going on here for poor Craig Wescoe? He is drawing so many lands this match. He might still end up with a draw, but Sjaak is going to start attacking. He says, I'm going to offer a trade. This is Vendilion Click. If it gets blocked, he can finish off the Angel with his Staticaster and then maybe start chipping in with the Snapcaster Mage and or Celestial Colonnade, but it's land go for now.
A spell was drawn. It was a Geist.
It was a Geist of St. Traft.
That can change the math a little bit.
Maybe.
Activate Colonnade here?
He's going for it. Wow.
Well, considering there's under a minute left on the clock, both players really have to take action here.
Yeah, he's just forcing the ghost quarter, I suppose.
Yeah, just like force the issue, just get all the stuff out of hand. Like you just saw nothing in hand, so you would have had to draw something. Taking forever to shuffle. He might just have to shuffle again because of this ghost quarter.
Attention players in 6:30 modern.
As you can see, he's not shuffling because he kind of knows what's going to happen.
He was like, I'm going to do these things?
Yes.
Question mark? And Wescoe's like, sure. Just keep searching there, buddy. Because...
Oh, my God. You have to search faster.
Melissa, you're used to playing in R&D where you guys are all ruthlessly efficient shufflers.
Yes, we play so fast.
Yeah. When you roll a die, do you do odds and evens?
Of course.
The R&D die roll.
Yeah, we only roll one die. We don't even say any words. We just roll a die. If I win, if I roll odds, I go first. If I roll evens, they go first. The end. We don't have to say any words.
Love it.
If you roll a die off the table, then we have some issues.
Love every second of it. That die you see, by the way, is, I suppose, representing our extra turns.
Probably. All right, so a swing in for 5 here. But Craig is going to follow up with an end-of-turn flash in the Geist of St. Trap off of the vial.
Okay. Can he actually pick up a win through that?
Yeah, I think he can.
Yes.
The Staticaster can block, but he's still taking 7, and that's a two-turn clock, which means that Sjaak has to no longer attack with his Vendilion Click. He's going to have to chump block. So that changes the math a lot.
Yeah. We'll see what Sjaak has in his hand that can interact with this plan as well.
Ooh, he has something. I thought he was holding lands.
He's got 2
All right, he has a
somethings.
Spell Queller. Okay.
And he can use that to eat the Geist of St. Trap.
But is that another Restoration Angel that was drawn? Nope, that's Athalia.
That's Athalia. Yeah.
They look kind of similar.
They do.
They're from the same... They're
Era?
both, yeah, like they're from Innistrad. I mean, one's from Innistrad, one's from Restoration
Avacyn
Angel,
Restored.
but that's still the same block, right?
One's from Restoration Angel, you just said.
Oh, is that what I said?
Yeah.
I meant Avacyn Restored.
I know what you meant.
Because
like
Avacyn's an angel. That's probably why I said that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is officially the last round here.
Yes.
I mentioned it a minute ago, but don't you go anywhere when this one's over. One way or the other, we're going to have extra turns with Rich Hagen as he goes over. Matches you haven't seen yet at turbo speed until we get our final results in from our scorekeeper here in Hartford. I am a little bummed out here, though, Melissa. I've actually really enjoyed the way that these decks have interacted. It's been a super interesting matchup, but I don't think these guys are going to be able to finish this.
No, they actually might. This attack is for 7.
It is.
And then on Craig's turn, he has nothing. Wait, what is this?
He's just activating it because that's what Craig does.
Sure.
So Craig actually needs to find something here?
Well, he can chump block with Thalia.
And
well,
then,
it wouldn't be a chump block. It would just be just a good block.
Yeah. And then it would be a draw, right? So basically we need to see a lightning bolt or a lightning helix.
Or a cryptic command.
Or a cryptic command.
Or a path to exile.
Or a snapcaster mage or something from Sjaak. Can he do it?
There's a lot of stuff. He has a lot of draws.
Wait a minute. Did we just forget about the Staticaster?
Oh, yeah. We totally forgot about the Staticaster. We just forgot all about it.
It was an off the top for the full sweat, but he doesn't need it.
No, he doesn't need it. But he's still going to do it. Got to find something.
Because we got to make this match take a little longer.
He's going to win on turn 5.
Oh, my God. He's actually going to steal this game. I cannot believe it. Oh, interesting. By the way, one last note about the Thalia and Restoration Angel. Chat says that they're both from the same artist.
That's why they look the same.
They got us.
All right.
It's Johannes Voss is the one who did that.
Cool.
So are we actually going to get a not draw here? Because I would be kind of thrilled to leave this match on not a draw. I think
Sjaak's going to win.
I was bumming out. I think Sjaak just has the win now.
I think so. What was the card? That
I like how
braid?
he waited 30 seconds there just to decide on that opt. He doesn't know he has lethal. We do.
Right.
But it's turn 5, so he has nothing to lose. Craig cannot kill him at any point. Craig puts his hand on his hips like, come
Whoa,
on,
he
man.
took damage. Because colonnade. That's a colonnade over there.
Mm-hmm. There's still
Now
a
he's
ghost
really
quarter.
going for the win. Before he was only kind of going for it.
No, you can't activate his steam vents. There we go. All right.
And I think the card he drew was a braid, so he can, like, kill a potential spell queller that might flash in a block or something. Just attack with everything. Turn it all sideways.
It's turn 5. It's time to put the pedal to the metal, Sjaak, and he does so. Sure, might as well ping with this thing too.
Well, kill all the stuff. Overkill.
Oh,
kill everything.
Very nice. Kill it all. And Sjaak de Vlaming does take down the match. 2-1. Boy, they made it a sweat. That was turn 5
Whoa, he is like...
of extra turns. And that's Sjaak entering into day number 2. And unfortunately for Craig Wescoe, he's going to get left behind on this one. He's going to have to find something else to do tomorrow. Melissa, card of the match.
Oh, card of the match. Okay, let's see.
Spell Queller's got to be on the list. The Arbiter did some work.
Yeah, good question. Wow.
She's on the spot now.
I really am.
I would say Spell Queller because we saw them do so much work on both sides of the battlefield, though they didn't end up actually winning the game.
It didn't win the game. It did a lot of work. I don't know. Like, I don't think it was the most important card in the match.
So what was then?
Maybe it was Path to Exile. Maybe it was Celestial Colonnade.
Okay. Which one? You got to just pick one.
I got to pick one.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to pick Spell Queller.
All right, Spell Queller.
All right, we're done.
It did
Spell
a lot
Queller.
of work over the course of that game, to be fair, because it was on both sides of the battlefield, right? You and I were like, wait a minute, are we going to see a Spell Queller
Yeah, we had
mirror?
Spell Queller Wars.
We had a Spell Queller under a Spell Queller?
Yeah, and then we had a Spell Queller die and have another Spell Queller come back to counter another spell. So, yeah, it was a pretty important card.
That's right. All right.
Despite not winning the actual match.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it. I mentioned it before, but stay tuned for extra turns right after these messages.
Hello everyone, welcome to Extra Turns here from Grand Prix Hartford. You might want to turn your volume down because it's going to get loud. Yes it is. It's me, Rich Hagan, and him, MT Chair, welcoming you to the end of Win and In. Tables behind us, emptying out, rounds just about done, so we will get final standings. Meanwhile, what we're going to do is take you way back to some of the matches that we didn't have a chance to show you that we recorded, but they're still going to take hours and hours and hours, and I don't have hours and hours, do you? No, thought not. So we're going to play things a little bit faster. Now, the match that we have in mind features Andrei Ionov with Blue-Red Thing in the Ice against Josh Ruiz with Traverse Shadow. Chat, all the help you can give us would be appreciated. I'm just going to find the deck list here. It's not that. Not that. That's Jonathan Morassi. That's a round 7. Okay, this could get awkward in a hurry. No, he just lost, so we don't need that anymore. No, that one's gone. I'll tell you what, Rashad. We'll do without the deck lists. Let's just roll the video. All right, everyone, so here we are. It's Andrei Ionov with the Blue-Red Thing in the Ice against Josh Ruiz with Traverse Death Shadow. We're already seeing a Thought Season. You can see a Cryptic Command there and a Lightning Bolt, and you can see an Opt, and you can see a Sleight of Hand, which is going to go away, or a Serum Visions, or whatever it is. It's a blue card. That's the important thing that matters. Go blue, go blue, go blue. Not that I'm biased or anything. No, not in this kind of Time Warp match. So this is taking you all the back to round number 2. Did either of these players make it in? Doesn't matter. Just look at the way their hands are going. Traverse Death Shadow on the right for Josh Ruiz. There's a little bit of Opt, or as I like to think of it, OPT after the Pro Tour. A pirate little gag there for you. Here's Inquisition of Coslet. Let's take another look. Cryptic, Opt, Lightning Bolt, and a Brave. That's the 5 cards. What are you going to do? Don't just hold your hand up like that. Inquisition takes away. Okay, that's gone. 3 land there. Back we go to Andrei Ionov. The scores are 20-12 right now. But that's okay for Death Shadow because it doesn't mind going down to 9 life. In fact, he probably wants to be at 9 life, or even less if it can manage it. Josh Ruiz at 9. Andrei Ionov applying all the no pressure in the world on 20. There's a Death Shadow. It's a 4-4 right now. Could be a 12-12 at some point, and a little bit of fetch land action going on there. Andrei Ionov with Blue-Red Thing in the Ice. Where's the thing? Where's the ice? Where's the in there? There we go. There is the thing in the ice. It's got 4 counters on. The clock is ticking, maybe glacially, but it is ticking. Josh Ruiz starts coming in with the Death Shadow. They're going for their libraries like they're going out of fashion. Use your local library or you'll lose it. That's a little bit of politics there for you. Josh Ruiz, he's going to cycle the Street Wraith. He's down to 4 here in game number 1 of our Time Warp match for round 2. Team of Battle Rage, is that going to be enough? Andrei Ionov's at 1, and now there's Traverse the Elvenward. That's why we call it Traverse, because it's not just Death Shadow, it's Traverse the Elvenward as well as the Death Shadow. And that is going to be it, is it? No, down to 3. Lightning Bolt there. 1-1. Who's going to win this one? What a sensational match. Unbelievable stuff here at the end of day 1. It's a Bloodbraid Elf. That's going to cascade into Colligan's Command. And that's game 1. Shall we do game 2? I think we should. It's Andrei Ionov once again with Blue-Red Thing in the Ice. That was so tight. I've not seen this before, I promise you. I'm watching it live just like you are. I say live, happened about 7 hours ago, but it still feels like live. Josh Ruiz down to 15. That's courtesy of Thoughtseize. That was ow. He's down to 15. Andrei Ionov at 20. Engineered Explosives. Okay, let's make the board almost empty, shall we? And yes, they are kicking that table like they've really been offended by it. Or it's that earthquake that we saw in round 2 earlier. It's probably that same earthquake we talked about on coverage. It's Mishra's Bauble. Let's take a look. Oh, I had a look. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to lay a Stomping Ground. Now I'm going to have a Tarmogoyf. No, you're not, my friend. That's a spell snare. Thank you very much, says Andrei Ionov, who must win game 2 to fight back. I can tell you, I've got the final standings, so when this match is over, I'll tell you who's made it into day 2. Young Pyromancer from Andrei Ionov. That could be not alone on the battlefield for very long, because the whole point of Young Pyromancer is that it makes more things on the battlefield. Otherwise, it'd be a bit rubbish. It'd just be young. So there's Liliana. The last time we're up to 4 counters there already. On the other side, Andrei Ionov passes the turn. 4 mana open. Josh Ruiz, he's down at 10. That means his Death Shadow will live if it can. So what happens with Josh Ruiz here? He's down to 7. This is good news for Death Shadow. Oh yes, it is. Here's a Bloodbraid Elf. Cascade into Liliana the Veil. 3 counters. It's Liliana everywhere. Liliana, and a Bloodbraid Elf. Flavor Fail. Whatever. Cascade is the business here. Goes up to 4. And now Josh Ruiz at 7. Andrei Ionov at 13. 2 loyalty on the other Liliana. Here's Death Shadow, and Andre searching out. He searched really fast there. That's because we're playing this at 4 times real life. What's more exciting than magic? It's 4 times the magic. Andre Yanov at 12, Josh Ruiz at 7. Andre Yanov trying to force a game 3 and make my larynx give out and die. Let's see whether that can happen. He gets rid of the Blood Red Elf. He's got Engineered Explosive at 1. He's got the Lightning Bolt. That gets rid of Liliana the Last Hope, but Liliana of the Veil is still there. Up to 5. Back goes Andre Yanov. His Engineered Explosive sitting at 1, but Liliana keeps ticking up. Up to 6. 12-7 is the score. OPT spells opt for Andre Yanov. He takes a look. He sticks it on, well, somewhere. He lays a land. Now it's Josh Ruiz on 7. Liliana continues to tick up at 7. 7 plays 12. Here's Young Pyromancer again. We had one of those a little bit ago. It's back again. Well, not back again. It's more like another copy of it, because you can play 4 in a deck if that's what you want to do. Andre Yanov, 12-7 behind. Can he force a game 3? Let's find out. I've got the final standings. Oliver Chew is top of the standings. Little sneak peek there. There's Dreadbore. I dread boredom. That's why I like Dreadbore. Here's Death Shadow. Death Shadow is a 6-6 right now. That's half of Andre's life total. That's 12 down to 6. One more will do it. Can he do it? There's Traverse again. This time, is it enough? It's getting very tight once again. Andre Yanov shakes his hand, and we're done. And that was 2-0 to Josh Ruiz in round number 2. So, welcome back to this. I thought you did very well, actually. Yeah, I'll have you again. Thanks. All right, so final standings are here, so let's tell you about them. The 8-0 players here, there's 13 of them. Oliver 2 at 8-0 heads the field. From Pat Cox, Lyric Kulik, Chaz Henkel is in 4th, Kellen Pastore, well-known name around the USGP scene. Gene Friedman, no relation as far as I know to Ben. Thomas Smiley, Michael Rapp, congratulations to them. Lucas Cruz, so there's all sorts of cruise control jokes, but we'll save those for tomorrow. Abraham Stein is 8-0. Also Frank Skarren, no, Moses is a limited specialist. He's had a great day on day 1. Jonathan Sharp and Eric Smith rounds out the 8-0s. Now, how about the 7-1? Seth Manfield leads the way there. You'll know Peter Ingram, a lot of you. Lance Austin recently qualified for the Pro Tour. Great job by Jadine Klamparens at 7-1. And as I head further down the list, Max McVitie is there. Owen Turtonwald, 7-1. Matt Nass is 7-1. Reed Duke is 7-1. So is Andrew Cuneo, Ross Merriam. And hats off, God save the Queen, Luke Southworth of England, here on holiday over in New York. Thought, that's not far from Connecticut, if I can read a map correctly. He can. He came here, 7-1 overnight, keeping the British flag flying. God, that's hard to say, I tell you. Maxime Auger, 7-1. Oliver Tomiko, 7-1. Maxime Dorr is there. Robert Graves, who we had in the feature match area a while back. The 7-1s, I can tell you, stretch all the way to Jedediah Pienkny in 94th place. So it's fair to say, as we head back to the booth, that most likely the winner of this tournament is going to come from either those 13 8-0s or those 80-odd 7-1s. But as we head down the standings, the 6-2s go all the way from 105th, which is Christian Calcano, right the way down, and down, and down, and down, and down to the last player who can theoretically win this tournament, which is Jeffrey Lyman, 6-2, with a 45.98% opponent win rate, which means some of them didn't have a great day. So, as we head to day number 2, we're glad to have been able to bring you a little bit of bonus magic in extra turns. Thanks very much to Marshall Sutcliffe, to Melissa DeTora, to Jacob Van Lunen, and of course to Maria Bartholdi. All of them and all of me, maybe even MT Chair, will be here again on Sunday. We will start at 9 a.m. because that's what we do. 7 rounds separate us right now from another top 8. Modern is just sensational, and so are all you for watching. Thanks very much. Until we meet again, for MT Chair and all the team, I'm your host, Rich Hagen, saying bye.